Good day. I am Ms. Janica Ana T. Almario, Master of Education in Aeronautical Management student of Philippine State College of Aeronautics. Also currently employed as Flight Safety Specialist of PAL Express Philippine Airlines Group. And this is my entry for this Asian Virtual Conference on Multidisciplinary Research. My study is entitled A Comparative Study of Bird Strike Safety Reporting Culture of Selected Airlines in the Philippines. The International Civil Aviation Organization, or ICAO, strictly defined bird strike as a collision between a bird and an aircraft on flight or during landing or takeoff. This term is often extended to other wildlife such bats and ground animals. Bird strike has been recognized as common and major problem to all aircraft operations worldwide. While the number of both bird population and flight increases, the risk of the flight also remains high and will further bring new challenges in the future. The aviation industry has been adopting SMS, or safety management system, in mitigating the risks and safety reporting as one of its fundamental tools. The occurrence of bird strike in the Philippines and its reporting system have not been analyzed in the previous studies in the country. This study is a qualitative research that analyzed the data through key informant interviews using SWOT analysis and the existing reports of the Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, or CAAP, and also the major airlines in the country that compose of PAL Express or Philippine Airlines Group, Cebu Pacific or CEBGO, and the AirAsia. Bird strike is one of the toughest challenges the Philippine aviation is facing. The country's geographical location, weather, and rich wetlands became a haven of the migratory birds. The Philippines is visited annually by a wide variety of migratory birds, being part of the East Asian Australasian Flyway. The country has been an important staging and wintering area of these long-distance flyers, which travels halfway across the world in search for food and temporary habitats. In addition to this, our local bird species. On the other hand, safety reporting plays an essential role in detecting operational hazards and system deficiencies. This serves as a great source of hazard identification, incident prevention, and further formulation of appropriate mitigation actions. Bird strike reporting system, if done accurately and timely, will contribute to minimize the threat of the avian hazards. As for the methods and materials, this study utilized a descriptive research design to realize the problems and objectives. While there was no survey conducted, the primary data was gathered through informant interviews to the Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, aviation safety professionals, and wildlife research and conservation science experts. As you can see, there are three major interviewees or participants of this study. This includes the information focused on the bird strike received by the ADMS, or Aerodrome Development Management Services under CAAP, and the bird strike records of the ACAP, or the Air Carriers Association of the Philippines. On top of this is an extensive literary review that tends to illustrate the problems of the present bird strike conditions in the Philippines and its reporting system. Again, we have three key informant interviewees or major participants. Number one, the Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines. I have interviewed Engineer Evangelista under technical working group that assigned in the mitigation of bird strike. Number two, ACAB, or Air Carriers Association of the Philippines. I have managed to interview the Director of Safety of PAL Express, AirAsia, and also Cebu Pacific. Next, number three, the Wildlife Research and Conservation Science expert, Ms. Lisa Paguntalan, the Philippine Biodiversity Conservation Incorporated Executive Director. As for the general objectives, number one, to determine the present prevalence of bird strike occurrences in the Philippines. These include as to airports where the bird strike mostly happen in the country. Next, bird strike count according to season. Number three, bird strike species that are mostly struck. 4, bird strike count according to flight phases. 5, effects of the bird strike in flight. And lastly, number 6, parts of the aircraft that are frequently struck or damaged. Number 2, of the general objective, understand safety reporting culture of both CAAP and ACAP. This area will illustrate the existing culture and attitude towards safety of both the authority and the selected airlines. Number 3, to identify the country's weaknesses of safety reporting culture pertaining to bird strike. In this, the statistics that is consolidated by the Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines is compared against to the data or statistics that being held by these major airlines or the ACAP. Number 4, the final objective is to provide recommendations on strategies for CAAP, airport authorities, and air operators should do in the mitigating the bird strike occurrences in the country. With the aim of the bird strike mitigation, this research took an advantage to seek consultations and recommendations among to these professionals to mitigate bird strikes. Moving on to the discussion, the number 1, the present prevalence of bird strike occurrences in the Philippines. Due to the limited bird strike related studies available in the Philippines, and one of these studies' objective, this research will show the current trend and other relevant information regarding the bird strike occurrences in the country. This is the Philippine Airport Wildlife Strike Statistics from 2016 to 2018, submitted by CAAP as a compliance to the ICAO Bird Strike Information System or the EBIS. For this graph, number 1 is the airport with reported bird strikes. Wildlife strikes by airport, there were a total of 342 cases of reported strikes gathered from the ATC or air traffic controllers and airline operators from year 2016 to 2018. And as you can see, Manila got the highest count. Maybe another reason is this is an international airport and major hubs for all major airlines. Definitely they have the most number of flights and most vulnerable to bird strikes. Next, we have the bird strike count according to season. Wildlife strikes according to seasons reveal that the month of October has the highest count and month of January has the least cases of reported strikes. Next, the bird species mostly struck. This graph shows that the largest fraction of the species is undetermined or unidentified. This is 86% or 293 out of 342, meaning there is a poor identification of what type of species were struck by the aircraft. Next, bird strike according to flight phase. The highest count here is the landing roll and followed by takeoff run. Next, we have the effects of bird strike in flight. This shows that 93% or the largest percent of this total 342 reported strikes shows that there is no effect on flight. This is according again to CAAP, not to major airlines. Lastly, we have the parts of the aircraft that are frequently struck or damaged. As you can see, the most number of part struck is the engine and followed by the windshield. Moving on to safety reporting culture for both CAP and ACAP, both airlines and authority disseminate safety information throughout the organization to raise awareness and increase the number of reports to achieve proactive safety. While the learning culture, just culture, and flexible culture are embedded in their safety policy as stated in the interviews. For the country's weaknesses of safety reporting culture pertaining to bird strikes, number one, the absence of ornithologists employed by CAAP or a biologist to understand the bird movement, behavior, and possible deterring methods. Number two, inadequate number of actively working CAAP personnel dedicated for wildlife management alone. For the reporting system, on the other hand, number one, we have the underreporting of airlines to the authority. There are reasons why pilots or the air operators cannot report immediately the strikes. Number two, there is a non-usage of second part of the safety reporting form. Number three, inability of the airlines to report bird strike incident 3 days from the day of occurrence. Number four, inconsistent on unreliable bird strike database from CAAP. Lastly, number five, absence of a single or uniform bird strike database among CAAP offices. Another weakness of countries' bird strike reporting data. We have here the Philippine Airports Wildlife Strike Statistical Record of CAAP from 2016 to 2018. This tells that there are 342 cases of reported strikes gathered from ATC and air operators for the span of 3 years. However, ACAP bird strike data shows that for 2018 alone, 5 major airlines had 337 incidents covering their top 10 destinations with highest strike. This count does not include yet the strike counts with low number of bird strike occurrences at a certain destination. There is a huge disparity between the count of ACAP and CAAP. Finally, for the recommendation of bird strike mitigation from CAAP, air operators, and the wildlife conservation and science experts, all the key informant interviewers agreed that the habitat management is the most sustainable and cost-effective measures in mitigating bird strikes. With this, participants have the same view in resolving the bird strikes. As for the conclusion, the quality of the bird strike reports varies from positive to unsatisfactory ones, and the quality of bird strike reports is increasing. As a recommendation, suggesting to have more comprehensive bird strike data analysis to include the ratio, time, and top airports, and the top avian hazards with greater risk, and include hazard reporting of wildlife sightings as mandatory. Number two, there is a strong positive safety culture within the CAAP and the major airlines in the country. And even with this positive safety culture, air operators have deficiency in reporting the other part or the other half of the standard reporting form. As a recommendation, the CAAP and the air operator should invest in education and awareness to all its stakeholders. Number three, with all the requirements, flight crew should comply. Human factors such fatigue, stress, and norms, lack of resources, and others affect the timely and reliable bird strike reporting. Number four, there is a disparity of ACAP and CAAP bird strike database. As a recommendation, there must be a periodic submission of CAAP collected data to ACAP collected data to CAAP. Lastly, number five, while technical working group of CAAP is present to address bird strike related issues, it is insufficient due to the absence of biologists or ornithologists employed by CAAP to conduct a comprehensive research on bird strike. As a recommendation, there must be a scientific study for bird strike inventory and bird hazard inventory and their behavior and movement before procuring of expensive equipment in bird deterring. And the ATC or air traffic controller has the overall view in the airport, most of the ATC has binoculars. They could be a great help in wildlife hazard inventory and incident log. And this is for the reference. Thank you.